Today, Nintendo announced more information on their new subscription service, and it seems like overall a net positive. This is Checkpoint. Welcome to Checkpoint, recording hot on the heels of the Apple Developer Conference, where it was announced that Steam VR would be coming to Mac OS.
Do you think this was more about allowing Mac users to enjoy the wealth of VR experiences on Steam, or about proving Palmer Luckey wrong?
Tough to say. Both noble goals. Blizzard is removing the Rate Match option from the Overwatch post-match screen. The feature let users rate the quality of a match out of 3, but it was never really clear what, if any, function that actually had. Turns out the lack of functionality and the reason for the feature's removal is that the data was not particularly useful to Blizzard. In fact, Blizzard only really got 2 confirmed data points from the Rate Match feature. Players enjoy matches they win, and players do not enjoy matches they lose. Groundbreaking stuff.
Valve has finally announced how much they will charge people for the privilege of publishing games to Steam Direct. It will be $100 per game. If you're confused, I'll recap. Currently, to get a game on Steam, you have to court digital upvotes in the dumpster fire that is Steam Greenlight, a virtual garbage scow piled high with shuddering mounds of shovelware, Unity Store asset flips, and crushed dreams. In order to fix this, Steam is going to blast Greenlight into the heart of the darkest star they can find in order to finally rid the Earth of its contagion, and replace it with a new system, Steam Direct, a scheme where you give Valve $100 and your game goes directly onto Steam. According to Valve, the company decided on the $100 value because they wanted it to be as small as possible to ensure it wasn't a barrier to beginning game developers, while also not being so small as to invite abuse by people looking to exploit the system. Valve also revealed they will be using a mix of algorithmic discovery options and an unpaid army of human curators to prevent low-quality games from immediately overwhelming the system. No word yet on how many people are excited about sacrificing themselves and their sanity for the good of a company that won't be paying them and doesn't care about them. But I salute your decision to drown yourselves in the black ichor of late-stage capitalism for my benefit.
Well, that didn't take long. Surprising a totality of no one, after publisher Greybox essentially challenged their users to crack the de novo DRM software on Rime, it happened within days. As promised, Greybox and developer Tequila Works have removed de novo from Rime and pushed an update to anyone who bought a DRM-encrusted version. Now, some users are saying that with de novo removed, the game is actually running better, or that it feels like it's loading more quickly. Greybox and de novo both flatly deny that the DRM software was impacting performance in any way, and Ars Technica, who reported on this, haven't been able to independently confirm it. So I feel like it might just be psychological because people really hate DRM. A note to publishers, that last part isn't conjecture. People really hate DRM.
Remember when the holy grail of all speedrunning records was being able to collect all 120 stars in Super Mario 64 in under 1 hour and 40 minutes? For years, achieving this timestamp was just tantalizingly out of reach to the speedrunning community. It was a towering, unbreakable rock against which so many dreams were dashed. I remember. You remember. It's a myth for our times, a campfire story for our generation. Anyway, the record finally got broken in May. It's been broken twice so far in June, so the current record holder is Alan Cheese 05 Alvarez with a time of 1:39:28, which will hopefully hold until this airs. Wow, this must have been exactly what people felt like when Roger Bannister finally ran the 4-minute mile.
When Nintendo announced that the Switch would have an online subscription service, much like Microsoft and Sony, people were a little surprised, maybe even skeptical. When they announced that each month you'd get a free classic game from the Nintendo archives, people were happy. When they announced that you'd lose access to that game at the end of each month, people were going to go with upset. Well, in spite of what all previous conduct would lead you to believe, Nintendo has listened to its consumers and changed the deal. Now, Nintendo's subscription model, which is $20 a year, so considerably cheaper than Sony or Microsoft, will allow unlimited access to its digital library of games for as long as you are subscribed. The digital library in question is not the same as the Virtual Console, and in fact will only be NES games for now, with SNES games, quote, under consideration. And in fact, the service will only launch with 2 classic NES titles and Balloon Fight, so it might be a while before this becomes the Netflix but for Nintendo games that everyone was hoping. Still an improvement over their initial plan, though.
Wow, $20 a year not to play Balloon Fight.
I know, it's a good deal. I'd pay up to $50 a year to not play Balloon Fight. Thanks for caring, Nintendo.
Coming up, Inflatality is a new fighting game where you play as wacky, waving, inflatable, arm-flailing tube men battling for whatever inflatable tube men battle over. Getting people to come and take a 1992 Buick LeSabre for a test drive, I guess.
Welcome to CheckPoint, recording right on the...
It's okay, I was going to screw Tiffany out because I was going to say that asshole from Oculus with the weird name.